Well, congratulations, Chad. What a fantastic weekend it was. A four-timer, 4 wins on the board. Is that the first time?
I've had a 4-timer in Australia, but of course not in Hong Kong. I've had a treble a few times, and to get 4 winners on such a big day was very special.
From the back, it's Silver Fig from Honest Way, or close. Silver Fig scraped in for me. Hanging on from Jolly Banner, and Dundonnell wins the neck. Dundonnell from Jolly Banner, winning supreme, wishful thinker. Oh, race to a narrow lead from the Golden Age. Then Exultant, nothing I like more, can't win, but Singapore Sling careering away with the Classic Cup.
And it must be exciting now with Singapore Sling going into the Derby after winning the Classic Cup there. Have you got any concerns with him going into it?
No, I don't. I'm pretty confident he'll relish the extra distance, and he's a horse who's just on the right path. He's getting better all the time. We've seen his gradual improvement from start to start, and if he can continue on that path, he's obviously the one to beat already. And if he can improve it a little bit more, well, that's just great.
Well, let's go back to earlier days when you were here in Hong Kong. Your dad was here, he was a jockey here, of course, and you were a young kid. Were there dreams and plans already in your head to come here as a professional jockey?
Yeah, there were. Ever since, I've always wanted to be a jockey, ever since I could remember. There's Mum and Dad have photos of me as nearly a baby, sitting on the arm of the couch, whipping it and watching my dad race. So it was always something I wanted to do. When I was in Hong Kong, of course, I went to school here for 4 years, and I was right into the racing then, and I used to climb the trees in the park and watch over the fence. So to now be back here and doing it all myself, it's pretty surreal.
So you make the decision that that's what you want to do. How did you go about it? You've obviously gone off to Australia, but how difficult was it to start?
Well, it took a bit of begging to my mum and dad, but eventually when I was the right age, I went into David Payne's stable in Sydney. He used to be an ex-jockey in South Africa, and he's now got a stable in Rose Hill, so I was apprenticed to him. And when I was 16, I started to learn how to ride from scratch, and he was a great mentor to me along with my dad, and things just went pretty smoothly from there. Within, I think, 6 months I had my first race ride and I was off and going.
Did you base your style on your dad, or was there someone else?
I based my style on my dad. Obviously, I'm a bit of a different shape to my dad. I'm a fair bit taller and different body size. But I obviously always idolised my dad, of course, and model myself on him.
The support of trainers, of course, whether it be here or in Australia, is always crucial. David Hayes, you had a fair bit to do with him once you left Sydney after winning the premiership there, and then down to Melbourne. How supportive was David with you?
Well, he just did wonderful things for my career. I was the champion apprentice in Sydney, my first full season of riding, and things were going brilliant for me. And then I got a call from David Hayes asking me to come and ride for him as an apprentice. And I was the stable jockey, so he obviously has a huge stable, and he just opened up Euroa. He put all of his trust in I was 17, so that support he showed me, and obviously all of his owners and the industry, that he has faith in me. And obviously I went on to win Group 1s in Melbourne and from a very young age, and he did wonderful things for my career.
I was going to ask you, what has been so far your highlight in racing? Was it the Cox Plate?
Yeah, it would have to be the Cox Plate.
Yeah. And did you give yourself a chance going into the Cox Plate?
To be honest, no. Obviously the horse had never won a race. He was a maiden, and there was a lot of talk if he should even be in the race. And I remember I was at Cranbourne Trials on a Monday, and Atlantic Jewel got scratched and he got a run. So being a light young jockey, I got the ride because not many could make the weight, and yeah, the rest is history.
So you come over to Hong Kong. Obviously, as I mentioned before, it's crucial to get that support from trainers. How did you go about building up a relationship, or did you already have a bit of a relationship from being here before?
I knew the trainers from when I was here as a kid, but obviously they knew me as a young naughty kid running around, so I then had to prove myself that I could ride and whatnot. Luckily for me, Tony Millard was very supportive from day one, and we kicked off to a great start. He gave me my first winner in Strathmore on my first meeting, and Richard Gibson too. He's obviously also been one of my biggest supporters here in Hong Kong. But like you said, it's it's very difficult to win over the trust and get the support, because you're competing with jockeys here who've already proved themselves, and they're established for a couple of seasons already. So yeah, it's always tough, but it's a constant battle, but one I'm enjoying.
We'll get back to Singapore's Sling. He's obviously had the 4 runs here. He had 6 overseas. He won a couple over in South Africa, but you didn't ride him for his first couple of runs, but you've managed to get on him since, and you've had success on him. Was it easy to get onto him?
Well, not really. I did a bit of work with him when he first arrived in Hong Kong, when he was still settling in and whatnot, and his track work and trials were only fair, to be quite honest, and he ran first start over a shorter distance where he ran quite well, and of course then he went on to win here at Happy Valley with Tommy Berry, and with Tommy being retained by John Moore, he wasn't able to ride, and I was on next start where he ran a cracker in the Classic Mile, and I think I got on him at exactly the right time.
So we've got about 3.5 weeks to go before the Derby. Those big races, whether it be the Cox Plate or the Hong Kong Derby, how are the nerves?
Well, I really enjoy them, of course. I mean, it's a dream to even compete in the races, and when you're on a live chance, it's even more special. So I don't really struggle with nerves. I really enjoy the moment and pump myself up, and the thrill I got that day in the Cox Plate was one I'll be looking forward to get again in the Hong Kong Derby.
And to win the Derby, would it mean something very special?
Oh, it would mean the world. You can ask anyone in the Hong Kong racing industry what race they'd like to win, and I think nearly all of them would say the Derby. So to win it in my 3rd year would be something special.
And of course you've got your girlfriend here. She's been living with you over here for quite some time. How supportive is she?
Yeah, she's great. She's been here for now 2.5 years, and she obviously moved over here from England to be with me, and we're very happy here and loving Hong Kong life.
Does she get a little nervous when you go out to ride, or is she used to it now?
I think at the start she obviously was very nervous, and it was took a bit of getting used to, but now she's experienced the injuries and the ups and downs, and she's brilliant.
Right, well, thanks for talking to us, Chad. We wish you all the very best in the Hong Kong Derby.
Thanks, Jenny.